How's it going, guys? My name is Zach with the Movie Castle, and today we're going to be taking a look at Iron Lung. This is a brand new horror movie, just came out January 30th, 2026, and it was written, produced, and directed by Mark Fishbach, who you guys probably know as the YouTuber Markiplier. It also stars Markiplier, and mainly just Markiplier. This is a confinement thriller movie, but we do have a few other people like Kaplan and Troy Baker in this movie, and this is based on the indie video game of the same name from 2022, created by David Szymanski. And yeah, we had the Five Nights at Freddy movie coming out a little bit ago, and now we're getting Iron Lung. Really cool to see all these indie video games getting turned into movies. And while we're talking about indie video games, really quick shout out to my brother Michael, who is an indie video game developer as well. He made a game called What Happens After Midnight, a really cool haunted town parallel dimension type game, and I think you guys would really like it. So if you want to check it out, I'll put a link in the description and I'll put the trailer in the cards. But back to what we were talking about. Now, Iron Lung made a bit of a splash. Markiplier basically made the movie on his own, and he went to try to get distribution, and people were offering him some really bad deals. They were either wanting to put it just on streaming or in a really small amount of theaters, and they were also trying to take way too high of a cut of the profits. And the big revolutionary thing that Markiplier did is, through his own determination and the help of his fans riding to the theaters and demanding it, he was able to independently get this into a ton of movie theaters, bypassing the traditional distribution system. This got a lot of people who are baked into the old system really upset that he was able to do it without them. But let's be honest, there's some real terrible people in Hollywood, and as someone who's trying to make an indie film himself, this really is inspiring to be able to do it without the big system. And honestly, I'm really hoping that this movie opens doors for indie creators. It could be a super important moment in film history, especially for us indie guys. So before we even get into the review itself, big thumbs up to Mark here. He really did something super impressive, and I'm really grateful to him for that. But let's talk about the movie itself. No major spoilers, but what's the setup for this one? Basically, you get humanity deep in space when all of a sudden something called the Quiet Rapture happens. No one really knows why or what happened, but all of a sudden all the stars and habitable planets just disappear. They don't know what happened to humanity, so they're going through space exploring and looking for things, and they've read a mysterious signature from this moon, a moon covered in liquid that appears to be blood. So they get a convicted criminal, Markiplier's character, and weld him into this submarine. And they tell him, you go down there, you risk your life, you explore, you see what's up, and if you do this mission for us, we'll let you go free. But of course, things are going to get dark. He's going to find a mysterious skeleton down there. He's going to get lost. The sub always appears to be on the verge of leaking, and it puts him in a really tight, stressful situation. And as the character says, he just wants to live. Is there anything wrong with that? And I will say I'm not really a big gamer, so I'm unfamiliar with the world of this video game, but the movie really does feel like a video game. It is a really tight, confined space, but you also get to see the mechanics at play. Apparently, the guards are the ones that can control the depth of the submarine, but he has to figure out the left, right, and forward of it. He has a camera that he can take photos. They're super grainy, creepy looking photos, but it's the only, window to the outside. This powerful camera is the only thing that can see through the blood. And then the way he'll find things, hidden compartments, secret files on this computer. I wonder what's over there. Hey, this clue will help me figure this thing out. It kind of feels feels a bit like an escape room, and it really does read as how a video game would read. And I did wonder, because there were a few things that were a little bit unclear to me, again, from the perspective of not having played the game before. Like, it took me a bit to figure out, like, oh, the camera display screen's on the side, but it's actually what's in front of the sub, and you don't really get to see the world outside the submarine, and part of me really wanted to see, like, a little model of the sub going through the blood. That would have been really cool. And there were things with the world, you know, the quiet rapture is a really out there concept, and it took me a bit to really understand exactly what was going on because I didn't already know that much of the lore. So part of me wished that the movie had started earlier and that we had got an outside segment, you know, maybe get to see the world and then see him getting captured or something. But I totally get why Mark made this choice. It was more accurate to the world of the game, and it also kept you confined. And yeah, part of me did wish for those other things, but I know what he was going for. I know he said, we're not leaving the sub, that's a conscious decision, you have to feel claustrophobic. And again, a lot of the other story elements would have made more sense had we had broken that rule, but props for him for going with the challenge. Like, at one time, the sub's being brought up for a minute before he goes right back down, and he can look out the window and see like one or two other people out there, but that's like it for anybody else. It really is just him the whole time. And again, a super bold move, and I will say that this sort of limited storytelling isn't going to be for everyone. In part, it kind of reminded me of one of those bottle episodes of Tales from the Dark Side, where the whole story would take place in one room with very few characters. And that kind of movie is always going to be a challenge on the big screen. But if you appreciate a really strict confinement thriller, this movie really does that. And overall, as I was watching the first 2 acts of the movie, I thought it was pretty solid. I thought it was interesting, and I really did like to see a game translated so directly, but the movie really shines in its 3rd act. I don't want to spoil anything, but we do get a lot of surrealism, we get a lot of special effects, and I heard this movie actually broke a record for the most fake blood used in a movie, a record previously held by Evil Dead. And when you got to the end, when it got really trippy, when it got really over the top, that is where this movie absolutely shines. And I absolutely love the 3rd act there. So overall, yeah, why a movie with a really limited set, why a movie that confined, focusing on one actor in one space, may not be for everybody. The 3rd act is absolutely grade A gold star for horror fans, and fans of Markiplier and fans of the game, I think, are really gonna like it. It's cool to see something super faithful, and again, from someone who doesn't know too much about the game, it did take me a little bit to kind of understand a lot of these things. But overall, I really did enjoy this movie. I definitely recommend it. And again, congratulations on your success, Mark. And I really do hope that this changes the way movies are distributed and gives us indie guys a lot more of a fighting chance. I don't know. Fingers crossed. Let's hope so. Anyway, to everyone who's watched so far, thank you for watching. To everyone who's liked and subscribed, thank you. You really are helping the channel out. I'll leave a relevant playlist on the bottom. This should be my 2026 movie reviews playlist, where you can see things like my review for Primate or 28 Years Later, The Bone Temple. Anyway, have a good day. I'll see you guys again very soon. Playlist here. Have a good day now.